So, today I'm doing my demonstration speech. I'm going to give you basically a mini lesson in very basic, very starter music theory. So, to start the demonstration speech, we must establish one thing, and that being my first point, if you will. And that's that there's 12 notes in music, all separated by what is known as a half step. Those notes are as I have written down, an A and then an A sharp, which is an A or any note with a little hashtag number sign next to it. So, an A sharp, a B, then a C. There is a specific reason that the B doesn't go to a B sharp, but instead to a C, but that is advanced music theory, so much that you have to understand physics on how sound works, and considering there's some people in that class who have no interest on physics, I don't want to get into that lesson. So, we go from a B to a C, and then from a C to a C sharp to a D to a D sharp to an E to an F, much like the same reason the B went to the C, so there. An F to an F sharp to a G, and a G to a G sharp. Now we've finished the step 1, which is establishing that there's 12 notes in music. Don't worry, I'll show this back if you can't remember them. Now we must move on to step 2, and that's before we make a scale, we have to define what a scale is. A scale is 8 notes that separate an octave. An octave is 2 notes that are the same, but one being a higher pitch, or lower pitch, depending on which way. So, basically, a scale is just 8 notes between 2 of the same notes. 7, because you count the last one and the first one. So, next, now that we have a scale defined, we have to make a scale. Before we can do that, we have to decide which scale we're going to make. For each note, there is 7 different scales, each of these being called modes. Today we're going to make possibly the easiest scale, or the most recognizable. That is the major scale, which I'm pretty sure you've all heard of. It's the happy sounding scale. And so, I've asked my father previously to give me a random number as we're going to make a scale together. He chose the number 8. And now we can look at the 8th note in these 12 notes and make a scale from that. So take it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're going to make a major scale off the note of E. So that's simple. We're going to start on the E. And next, to make a major scale, you go up a whole step, which, as if you remember, each separation between the notes is a half step. So a whole step would be jumping 2 notes. So you go from an E, then jump 2 notes to an F sharp. So you found your second note. Then from an F sharp to a G sharp, because you skip 2 notes again. However, with a major scale, it goes whole step, then a half step, which means that you, instead of skipping 2 notes, you just go to the next note. So our next note would be an A. Then you're back to whole step, which would make the next note a B, another whole step, would make the next note a C sharp, another whole step, to a D sharp, and finally you finish off the octave with 1 half sharp, with 1 half step, which would make this an E. So there you have the simple E major scale with the notes E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Now, to prove that there's more than one scale for each note, we can make another. Chad earlier said to give me the number 2. So we're going to make the second mode, which is called Dorian. Sticking with the same note, we're going to start on an E. Now Dorian is weird because it's different than the major scale. What it does is it goes up a whole step, so we have the same first two notes. So it's then an E, then an F sharp. However, it changes here, and the next step being a half step. So F sharp to G, which isn't in the major scale. Next, we do a whole step to the note A, then another whole step to the note B, then another whole step to the note C sharp, which all should be similar to the major scale, and then here's one more difference. It's then a half step to the note D, with a whole step finishing out the octave. So we have two different scales. I'll put a little 1 by the first mode, or the major scale, and then 2 by the second mode, or the Dorian scale. So as you can see, there's many different modes for each note. Now, since this is a 5-part project, I'm throwing in something a little more advanced than just a scale, and that's a major chord. Major chords are taken from, of course, the major scale. They're the first note, the third note, and the fifth note. So, for an E, if we can look back, it would be an E, then a G sharp, and a B. So there, you have your first major chord with an E, a G sharp, and a B. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, that is my demonstration speech.